We work with businesses every day that have experienced property damage in their different facilities. And I think a common desire and objective that any restoration company working in these situations needs to be aware of is just the need to get them back in business. They need to minimize the disruption. They need to be operating. Whether it's a hospitality situation with a hotel or whether it's a retail establishment, the issues are going to be different, but they're going to be similar. And that's our objective, to get them open with minimal business interruption.
Whether it is a large loss call or a small business call or a home or a high-end home, the steps and processes are pretty much the same. The difference in those would be in the amount of time that it takes to get back to working conditions or living conditions. It would be the amount of equipment that's used, maybe the number of people that are on the job. But as far as handling those losses, the steps and processes are pretty much the same. There's always going to be that first notice of loss call. The second step is us going out and looking at the damage. And then the third step is starting to work on the damage and getting it put back together.
We've got experience in all these different types of facilities. We call them Main Street commercial, the businesses that line the streets of our cities, and they all have slightly different issues.
You know, being a business owner and, you know, having to experience property damage, we understand that it is a huge concern and issue for you not being able to be in business, and the longer that you are out of business is very concerning, and it does affect your bottom line, and we are aware of all that, and we move as quickly as we can to get you back up and running.
We've done a lot of work in GNCs, and you think about what has happened. They're often on the receiving end of a neighbor's situation that has come through the walls. A lot of them are next to restaurants, and we get the call that the GNC is full of water, and they're basically a 7-day-a-week operation. So we've got to arrive, assess, communicate, and come up with an action plan for how do we keep them in business. But we're going to get our extraction done, remove any of the water that we can gather up with our vacuum systems, and bring in dehumidifiers and air movers as we would usually do. But here's where in a retail environment, we begin to be sensitive to their needs. There aren't very many businesses that want that equipment operating while they're in business. So we might have to come in the morning and take the equipment down and then come back at close of business and set the equipment up. So while we're getting a limited amount of time that the equipment is running, at least we're getting beneficial drying and stabilization of the property. And it may take a little longer to do our work, but we maintain as close to regularity as we can with their ability to operate their business on a day-to-day basis. Daycare centers are some of the most unique properties that we work in. Certainly everybody is really sensitive to the occupants. They're often young children of various ages, and so when they've experienced some type of a water loss in their facility, we're going to have to adjust our usual practices pretty significantly to what's going on in this type of a facility. We're going to also try to keep them open if we can. That might involve some movement of classroom furniture and fixtures from one room to another, maybe some age groups that usually would be segregated or doubled up. And so with some flexibility and communication with the facility management, we're usually able to keep them in full operation and then work in the affected areas. When you're a business owner and you've experienced property damage in your facility of whatever type, experience matters. And PuroClean Restoration Specialists based in Frisco, serving all of North Texas, we have the experience to be able to come and rescue you and your property and get you back in business, if not immediately, just as quickly as possible.